Welcome to the Vision CreatHER Podcast, from corporate to creator, with your hosts, Pamela Martino and Debbie Williams.
Hello, all. Welcome to another edition of the Vision CreatHER Podcast. We have a special guest who's not actually a guest, she's a family friend to the show, Dr. Pauline Belton. Welcome, Dr. Pauline. Uh,
Hello, hello.
Hello, thank you for joining us today. Debbie is out today, and so
Absolutely.
you are here as my guest co-host. We're excited to have you here. So much to unpack, so much to discuss. We are going to piggyback off of the conversation that Debbie and I started last week regarding the state of affairs and where we are as a country in terms of job losses and stress and all the things that, we as a people, as a society are dealing with every single day, and hoping to bring some comfort and hoping to bring um, some techniques to help people
Yeah.
navigate this stressful life that we've been encountering for some time now. And before we even kick off, let's talk a little bit about your book that this our conversation is pretty much going to stem from. Dr. Pauline has a book called Navigating Stress in the Workplace. I love the subtitle, A Science-Based Guide to Building Resilience and Thriving Under Pressure. We're under
Yes.
pressure. And so we want to kind of build our conversation around some of the topics that you discuss in the book. And we'll
Okay.
also be giving away a book at the end. So, I'll give everyone the details at the end. The first person who emails me and tells me why they need the book, I'm going to mail them the book. So I think it's going to be helpful for many people who are in the same life situation that many of us are in. And so let's kick it off. I'm going to give you an opportunity to say hello and all the things, and then we'll kick it off. So welcome to the show, Dr. Pauline.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I am so excited to be here with you because I do believe in your platform and that the vision is her. Like, we need to
Mm,
be able to create our own spaces. So thank you for having me here
thank you so
again.
much.
We are in a state of pressure.
Yes.
And in some cases, but people believe they are in crisis.
Mm,
And so we do have to address, how do you navigate stress, anxiety, and even burnout
mm.
when it comes to the uncertainty of things?
Yes, absolutely. And I think this is going to be it is going to be a power packed show. We have a lot to uncover, like we talked about. I'm hoping that our audience will walk away with a pocket full of techniques of lowering their stress level and
Yes.
settling their nervous system. I know that's been a lot of I've heard that a lot over, the last several months of, calming your nervous system and just how that regulates everything in your body. And so if we can address some of these stressors, right? And
Yes.
that can
It's
be a
extremely
focus.
important. Extremely important. People are under pressure and stressed out because of just the state of affairs in the world today, and also just everyday life.
Yeah.
And sometimes when the first thing that I usually have to do is ask people, where's your safe place?
Hmm.
And if your safe place is outside of your body, you're almost always going to be on edge, because your safe place should always be inside you.
Mm. Wow. So outside of your body, meaning like if you turn to alcohol or other substances to help with
Healthy or
navigating this.
unhealthy,
Hmm.
absolutely, yes.
Hmm.
If you are turning to things that are unhealthy for your body, but if you cannot just calm yourself and settle your nervous system within, then it becomes a challenge for people to find, a way to calm the nervous system, because your nervous system, it actually is contingent on you being aware of self, which is what I talk about in the book. So
Mm.
when I talk about navigating stress, it's about emotional intelligence. What do we know about ourselves and the triggers that we have already, right?
Hmm.
People are losing jobs, they're losing loved ones. Life is still happening.
Right.
And, even speaking to a client earlier this morning where, we catastrophize our our experiences in our mind, where everything is happening right now, and the reality is everything is not. We become stressed because there are things happening outside of our control. And
Yeah.
when we don't feel in control, we feel as if there is, an attack, a threat. However, if you're aware of what's happening emotionally and what your nervous system is doing, then
Mm-hmm.
you begin to step back, to settle and see, well, wait a minute, what am I really experiencing and why?
Mm-hmm. That's
And
really
that's that
good.
self-awareness.
Yes, that's really good because I was going to say that that's emotional intelligence as well, right? When you
Yes.
and when you don't deny the what you feel and what's really happening around you, but
Name
acknowledge.
it and tame it.
Yes, I love that. Name it and tame it. You guys
Yeah.
heard it. Yeah. And then
Hmm.
you're able to then, once you identify, seek out help or whatever it is. But when you keep trying to suppress it, then that's when you explode or you implode, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And so awareness is so transformational for people, because when I teach people how to become self-aware, then they get mad sometimes because that
You don't want to
they
hear the truth.
cannot be unaware of
Right.
self. Whether we are in the workplace or whether we are, in our just, natural lives, we have to be aware of self. We impact our environment just as our environment impacts us,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
right? When people are losing their jobs and they're um, under pressure to figure out how they're going to get bills paid, how they're going to take care of their family, how they're going to keep the mortgage up, and all of the things that impact their lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
And I said that for a reason,
Mm-hmm.
because when we're under pressure and we feel like we are not in control,
Mm-hmm.
it's not because our lifestyle is being challenge or becoming a struggle. It's because we think it's a threat on our actual life and how we live.
Mm-hmm.
And we're thinking of how, somebody taking something away and then we being unable to then course correct, not realizing that if you've lived life, you figured out how to come back.
Yeah.
We all have a comeback game,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
We all know and understand that, when things go left off a cliff, you know, down a hurricane, wrapped in a cyclone, like, we feel like, oh my gosh, what is happening? But when you settle your nervous system, you take a deep breath, you pause, and you think about the fact that, no, I am safe.
Yeah.
I just have to figure out and structure what to do now.
Yeah. And I think that's the part that people need help with, putting a
That
plan in
pause.
place. Yes. And what to do, because I think our immediate reaction is you go into self-preservation and survival mode. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. This, and then you just, and I think it's just innate. It's just in us, right? You self-preserve, you try to save and yourself. And then especially if you have children and all the people that
Yes.
count on us, right? So we immediately go into this mode of trying to save everything, everyone, all the people that are
But it's
around us.
not your job.
Right. And
It's
so,
not your
yeah.
job to save everything and everyone. It's your job to put yourself in a calm place
Mm-hmm.
so that you can make the best decision from where you are.
Mm-hmm.
We always believe that because, we believe, okay, when things go wrong, I have to be the one to pull it all together. You have to pull you together first. And so when we talk about navigating stress, anxiety, or burnout, it has to do with first that awareness of, what am I actually feeling right now?
Mm-hmm.
And then um, what should I feel,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
not what I expect
Mm-hmm.
others to feel or what they expect me to feel, what they expect for me to do,
Mm-hmm.
because that's pressure too.
Right, right,
Especially
right.
if you're the one that's always shouldering the the weight. Our single household parents, our married or committed couples,
Mm-hmm.
it's who do you look to? But you first have to find some calm.
Mm-hmm.
Find some calm, and that's where the pause comes.
Yeah.
That's where you have to regulate yourself. Um, and then realize, okay, this hasn't been the first time that you've been under pressure.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I love
You're
that.
you're
Mm-hmm.
good at providing a safe place for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you may have done it without the proper tools, but here's the proper tool. Understand that when you are calming your nervous system, you're knowing and understanding, look, that I'm uncomfortable until I get comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
And you getting comfortable means that when you pause and you really think about it, here's where I can stop, take care of me, know and understand that everything is not happening right now. I just need to do one thing right now, and that is to calm me down so that I can make the next step,
Right. The next best
right?
move. And
Mhm.
write it out, right? Because I think,
Write
yes,
it out, write it out. But
yes.
first, before we even get to that, that is okay, calm yourself first. Whether you're taking a walk, whether you're regulating your mind so that you can calm down, because the next thing in the 3A framework is not only awareness, but action.
Mm-hmm.
And not action in the way that we have to be doing something. Action meaning that you have to decide. Our thoughts, our conversation, their energy, their action in motion.
Mm-hmm.
So when you become aware and you calm yourself down, then what is the next decision? That is your action.
Yeah.
Decide what you need to do.
Yeah.
I need to pause first. I need to, come up with a plan. I need to
Mm-hmm.
make a structure,
Mm-hmm.
because the things that are outside of our control, we can't do anything about that. What is in your control is what can you do now based on your circumstances and what resources you have.
Exactly.
But you can't make those decisions when your emotions and your nervous system is running amok.
Right. Because then you're irrational at that point. You're irrational.
Irrational decisions, poor
Yeah.
decisions,
Yeah.
and distractions.
Mm.
Stress, anxiety, burnout,
Mm.
those are distractions.
That's so true. And going back to writing things down. I know for myself that's I'm a write it down type of girl.
Yeah.
And when I can see it on paper, then your mind gets a little bit clearer because when you try to keep everything
Yes.
here, it just, I don't know, it just kind of gets all mumble jumble. But once you can get things on paper and you can say, okay, well, things aren't that bad, or things are,
No.
or things are really that bad, but at least you get to see it, and then you can start applying a strategy or outreach. You can reach out to someone and say, look, here's my situation. I just lost my job, or my family's going through a transition, separate, whatever it might be. And then now you know how to
Move
engage,
forward.
right? Engage and speak to
Mhm.
someone and be able to explain where you are, and then someone can better assist you or support you because now you're clear on what's
What
happening
you
around
need to
you.
do. Mhm.
Right,
Mhm.
exactly. And
Mhm.
so, I mean, and that's, the writing your budget out, whatever the impact might be. And okay, what is the best case scenario and what is the worst case scenario? Just so again, that might help calm your nervous system down when you see the
Oh,
worst case
absolutely.
scenario is not really a worst case scenario. It's just a scenario, right? And so,
And that's it. It is just a scenario, but you said it best just now. When you work a plan, you don't work yourself.
oh, that's good.
I always tell people, work the plan,
Mm,
work the process. Don't work people. Don't work yourself because that is irrational. That's dysregulated most of the time when emotions come in. So
mhm,
when we're taking action, it is, what is that one small thing that you can do today? Not 10, not solving everything, just one step. That could be, let me write down a plan.
mhm,
Let me structure what I need, what I want, and what I desire to happen.
that's good.
Right? And when you can structure it that way, then what are the resources that I can, activate that I need, right? And then how am I going to pour that out, in a way that is going to help me establish some type of grounding, some type of footing, right? And so that one small step could be an intentional action that helps to restore some sense of control.
Mm,
Because if we're breathing and human, we really believe that we are in control of anything, and we're not. The
mm.
only thing that you're in control of is you.
So
And
true.
if you don't get you under control, all of your experiences are based on your action, your awareness of self, and what you're going to do next, right?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's good. That's good. And the other thing I was thinking about too in relation or relative to the job layoffs, right? And so
Yes.
and the whole AI, the whole topic of AI and everyone being concerned about AI taking their jobs, and that's an opportunity now, right, to reinvent yourself.
It
Because
is.
what people, I think, I mean, me included, all of us, I think, especially the generation that we're coming out of, right? This whole AI thing is new to everyone, but we've always been relying on work hard, go to
Yeah.
school, get your degree, all those things. And so that's what we've been relying on is our skills. And so now to have to adopt this new way of working, depends on
Yeah.
how, well, yes, but I think
Depends
the
on
point
how
that I
we
want,
look at it,
well,
right?
exactly. And that's exactly where I was going because I think depends on the way people look at it. It's an
Yeah.
opportunity to reinvent yourself, right? And to not get stuck in what was or the way that you've been doing things for the last 15 years, but now adoption and now taking all those beautiful skills that you've acquired over your career. Now you have another function you can add on top of that. And now you've just made yourself
Absolutely.
even more powerful, right?
Yes, that
Yes.
those transferable skills, right? That we can now, utilize AI as a coworker
Hmm.
or a collaborator or someone or something that is going to help, brain dump. I think, if you're using it in a way that is a, I guess, an added layer of working more efficiently, then yes, it shouldn't be there to replace you. I mean, think about it. I've been a clinician, a educator, and all of the things for over 33 years. And yes, I did adopt AI into a process of
Hmm.
how I do things. However, it doesn't replace me.
Right.
It doesn't replace all the ideas and the things that I've created over the years. It might help me be a lot more efficient about how I do things. It may help to curtail some of the, work that I do or even the output that I do because of how my brain works. So it helps to help me to reinvent a way of doing things, a structured way of doing things where I'm not up at 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning anymore. Um, or, I have, I'm a writer.
Mm-hmm.
And so I have boxes and boxes of things that I've written since college. What was interesting, I had a very awesome AI teacher, Dr. Jeff Bullock, and he's with Prism. He actually taught me how to, you know, just say my ideas and whatever work that I had already done, talk to it like it's a coworker. And he helped me to, reestablish how I do things. But when we are in a state of, you know, not being in control, we get ourselves to the point to where we don't think that we have what it takes. And
Mm-hmm.
navigating stress is when you take that pause and you're aware of who you are and what you've been through, what you've come through, then you get the ding, 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 ding. Wait a minute.
Mm-hmm.
I'm me.
Mm-hmm.
I can do this. I
Mm-hmm.
just need to take a deep breath. I need to pause in the moment and I need to decide what direction do I need to go. That one step that is intentional about writing out the plan, about working the plan in its structure. And then the third A is adaptation. Everything that I've learned about myself, the shift that I needed, that's a mindset. It's my expectation, it's my approach. What do I need to do? And so moving forward, that structure helps me to adapt to my new situation, which is not a loss. It actually is an exploration of what are the skills that I've already learned, already put into place. How do they walk with me into this new version of me? Not under pressure, but above the pressure, where you're the one that is compressing
Mm-hmm.
what's happening
Mm-hmm.
so that you are stepping into this new version of you. Our life happens without our permission.
Mm-hmm.
And we believe that the experiences that we have, good, bad, or indifferent, guess what? They're just experiences.
Mm-hmm.
We have to be aware of what those experiences actually do to us and why. And because of that knowledge, because of all of that, those experiences happening, we've learned a lot about ourselves that we don't sit in until we're navigating stress, until there's chaos that is erupted and we feel as if, the world has ended. No, it hasn't.
Mm-hmm.
It just shifted and pivoted and you weren't looking.
Yeah. That's good. So I wrote down a couple of things because as a recap, right? And so because
Okay.
we gave the three A's, but we talked about each one, and just so people don't lose what the three A's are. So
Yes.
we have awareness, action, and adaptation. And so
Yes.
what I wrote down for each one of those, so just to give people brevity and
Yep.
understand just a one word they can associate with each one: awareness, acknowledge; action, move; adaptation, adoption. Awareness, I just have to acknowledge. Action, that means I have to move, not necessarily physically move like we talked about, but
Absolutely.
take an action. And then adaptation, that's adopting.
Mhm.
Adapting to whatever it is that you've decided
Absolutely.
that the move you're going to make, and you're going to now adopt that.
Oh, absolutely. Because it matters. It matters how we go through those three A's.
Mm-hmm.
And you're right. D- Being aware and acknowledging self. You
Mm-hmm.
have to acknowledge who you are first. Who are you first? What is happening? What is going on in your body, your mind? And what do you need, want, and desire? Right? Because you have to establish that, regulate your emotions, and then decide. That's your Your second A is that action. I'm going to decide a structure in which to do what I need to do based on who I am
Mm-hmm.
and what I want, need, and desire in my life, right? And the adaptation is because I am aware of myself, because I have taken action to decide the structure and the plan in which I want to move. I'm going to use that to now help me to move forward in a way that is new,
Mm.
that is evolving based on my current circumstances. Because guess what we've done? We've then created a safe place inside that can be
Mm-hmm.
mirrored
Yes.
outside.
Yes.
Right?
And you're not carrying that weight,
You're
right?
not carrying that weight because
Mm.
you've calmed the storm
Yeah.
here and here and in the body. You've
Mm-hmm.
calmed the storm because the mind can just go amok when there is just chaos,
Yeah.
when there is no structure, when we think, oh, the sky is falling, the sky is falling. No, it's not. It's right there. It's okay. It's all right. It's you also believing in you. Where's your affirmation for self? Have we created that? What
Mm-hmm.
does that actually mean? And sometimes it means that we have to start here mentally.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to make sure that I was clear in how we create a actual safe place when we're under pressure.
Mm-hmm.
And that starts with our environment.
Mm-hmm.
What does your space feel like? Is it chaotic, overstimulating, or heavy? You know, Even small changes in decluttering and creating a quiet corner or a quiet space for you to be
Mm-hmm.
helps to regulate your nervous system. It helps to clear your mind and
Yes.
give you that place where you can go sit and just be so that you can bring that clarity of emotion to self, right? And then creating the mental safety, which is to be mindful of what you're consuming. If you're under pressure and your job is called into a challenging space where either you're losing your job or anticipation of, you have to be mindful of what you're consuming, whether that's news, social media, conversations. Because sometimes the conversations that people have with us, oh, I'm so sorry about what? Right? About what? Because a lot of times conversations will activate the nervous
Yeah.
system. Social media activates your nervous system. And so creating an environment where you can go to and be in just a quiet, safe place so that you can regulate self. And then that emotional safety is that giving yourself permission to feel without rushing to fix everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We think it has to happen right now. No, it doesn't. You may need to readjust how you spend. You may need to take a pause on that vacation. You may need to, you can't buy the kids everything
Mm-hmm.
right now. You have to have a conversation with your family. Your circumstances have changed. However, we are still the same,
Right.
right? You have to have those courageous conversations and you may have to say no.
Mm.
And no is not forever. It's just for right now.
Right.
You can't spend the way you were spending. You can't go all of the places you've been going. You have to restructure yourself in a way that gets you through this season because it is just that, a season.
Right.
It's a
Right.
journey, not a destination.
Right.
And we need to be able to feel safe, you
Mm-hmm.
know, an environment mentally, emotionally, and physically when the world around us does not feel safe.
Right. Right. That's good. That's really good. And I think that sometimes people don't have the luxury of sitting still and doing just one thing. And so sometimes you may have to do these things in tandem with, executing your plan or the things that you've written down and doing your 3 A's and acknowledging. And as you're coming up with you're aware, and then maybe you write some bullets of just being aware of where you are and, then developing your next best move, right? And just so
Yes,
you don't waste too much time being stuck in one place. And then you do find yourself under pressure because you took, 60 days when you probably should have taken 30 days to kind of go through your steps, which creates more
yes.
anxiety in the
And
nervous
it
system.
may come to that. It may come to that. You're right. Because a lot of times when we have a nervous brain and a nervous body, all of the things come up at one time in our minds. So I teach clients how to do a parking lot. I'm a old school teacher. So, I have a big giant post-it note on my wall. And
Hmm.
sometimes, and in my office at home, I'm coming in and I'm writing all the things that my brain has thought about, and I'm writing that down. And then I need to come back and then decide what is the thing that actually align together. Because you say that, is sometimes we can't just sit and do one thing.
Hmm.
The I need people to understand something. When you're actually putting things in action, you're only doing one thing. You may think you're doing all of the things, you're only doing one thing, and that is putting that idea in alignment so that you can go from step to step to step to step. It may require resources, right? But what we need to understand is the brain does not calm when it believes that it has all of these things to do. The nervous system interacts with what the brain is saying and believing.
Hmm.
And so when we have all of these thoughts and process we want to do, we have to pull it together and bring it into alignment where it's structured plan. When you feel like it's not, then that means that you need to come back and be aware that maybe this is not working for what my body, my brain needs. Yes, we want to
Yeah.
move. We want to make sure we're getting all the things done right now. Yes, move in tandem.
Hmm.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
Move in tandem, but know and understand that what is my body telling me? What is my brain telling me? That's the reason why I actually wrote Navigating Stress in the workplace, but navigating stress was actually happening in my life.
Right.
You know, I mean, my body had gotten so used to being stressed out to when I got to burnout, I lost my eyesight.
Hmm.
But the doctors couldn't do anything because they said the condition that actually happened was not normal. It was a rare thing to happen. And it happened in zero point 0.5 to 1.1 percentage point of the population.
Wow.
My body should have absorbed the liquid that was in my eye and formulating, which it happens to many of us, right? And the doctor explained that I needed to actually rest. Rest.
Who has time to rest?
Who has time to rest? I'm a whole administrator. I am in one of the most prominent and large and active elementary schools in my county.
Mm.
I am also an educational diagnostician. I am also a therapist in the evening. I also am a wife and I'm a mom. You want me to do what? Right? But what my body realized that my mind would not conceptualize is that I was doing too much and I did not prioritize my health, myself first. Like my time management was absolutely bananas, right? And then, but this also comes into play when I talk to people about when they're under pressure. Sometimes it's the pressure we create, and sometimes it's the pressure that is just thrusted upon us because life has happened, right? And even in those situations, we have to remember we either will take time to pause or our bodies will make us pause.
Yeah. Yeah, I want to go back to something you said, two things. So when you were talking about decluttering, right? The decluttering of your mind, your thoughts, or your thoughts, a room, whatever it might be. And then we also talked about um, writing things down, and just when you're overwhelmed by when it feels like everything is happening at one time, this would be that time would be a good opportunity to introduce yourself to AI if you have not, to the Claudes, to the
Yeah.
ChatGPT. And so I wrote down the word accentuate. So you can use the
Mm.
AI tools to accentuate, because a lot of times when you are going through these shifts in life, with losing your job, or maybe even getting a promotion that you don't think you're ready for, or whatever the
Yes.
things might be, you can prompt the system to say, here's what I'm feeling, here's what's going on in my world. How should I respond? What do I need to do? Give me 5 things that I can implement to organize my life, to organize my whatever it might be. And so that immediately, because then you take the heavy lifting off of yourself of having to think from A to Z, and now you have your AI friend, your tool. I call Claude my boyfriend, but now you have a tool now that can help you just
To navigate that, to
navigate
just
and
clear the
create. Yes. And
fog.
so then now you can take what applies and add that to your list of things, or just, or not, right? But it just
So
lifts
here's
the
the
weight
thing.
off of
It
you.
lifts the weight off. If you are in a position where you can do that. Here's the thing about people. Sometimes when the nervous system is so dysregulated, they can't do one more thing.
I
They
understand that.
can't, um, they can't even pull together, opening up AI. They can't pull together getting out of the bed. They can't pull together these things, you know, and yes, AI can be absolutely a help in this, but a lot of times what I've found, especially in my practice, is that people need another person.
Mm-hmm.
And that may be your opportunity or your chance right now. When I tell you the influx of patients and clients that I have because of job layoffs and what's happening in the world around us, they need to know and understand that there's a resource called therapy.
Mm-hmm.
And therapy is there because it allows a person to find a person that can help them navigate in real time and give organic feedback,
Mm-hmm.
because I'm watching how people's body language, how they are referencing things that they aren't aware of, that's attached to a trauma that produces a trigger. And they are unaware of that because it's not their forte. They've been living this life of theirs
Mm-hmm.
for quite some time. And then they have an eye like mine that sees what they don't see, that hears what they don't hear. And then we pull that together for them to know and understand, oh, that's why I'm reactive. That's why I'm triggered. And then we can come down to them knowing and understanding, okay, now I have the motivation, the stamina to now deal with my life,
Mm-hmm.
to deal with incorporating AI, to deal with incorporating a strategy, a plan. Um, because in that first part of being aware of self is, what do you need to actually really regulate self? And that might be a fear that's happening, that's attached to something that you hadn't thought about in years,
Mm-hmm.
that you didn't know threatened you as a trigger,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so sometimes it is, under pressure, we realize that, you know, I need to talk to someone.
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
need to be able to go somewhere, talk to someone, and then leave my burdens there
Mm-hmm.
and just come out with strategies
Mm-hmm.
and come out with a plan of action without to deal with me,
That's,
right?
let me just say, because that's really good that some people don't even realize some things are so deep embedded,
Oh,
and they don't even realize all the things that they've been doing is out of reaction of whatever that deep embedded thing
mhm.
is. Whether, and it pretty much boils down to fear, right? And so whatever
Absolutely. Yes.
yes,
It's
but
that
absolutely.
fear factor.
Yes.
That thing is, oh, it has a chokehold sometimes.
And I remember reading this book that I have, and it was just like not even really a book, but like just a captions. And it said the only thing to fear is fear itself.
Mhm.
And I don't know, that was probably, I don't know, 30 years ago, 25 years ago that I read
Yes,
that, and I was like, wow, that's huge, right? And so
that is real.
yeah,
It's
it's
real.
real. And if you're able to acknowledge the only that you're dealing with fear, and the only thing to fear is fear itself. Because fear is this big in everybody's mind. But then, like we talked about, write things down. It's manageable. I mean, some fear is good because it keeps you from putting your hand on the stove. It keeps you from it
Yeah.
keeps you from, some of us, from driving impaired,
Yes.
right?
Hmm.
So it does have its point, right? And but you can't let it consume or your life where you're afraid to take a step, or you're afraid because not on top of fear, then you have people that have said to you, you're not this, you're not pretty, you're not tall enough, you're not smart enough, all the things that keep you stuck
Yes.
because they may have had fear in their life, right? And so people only, what is the little saying when basically they project whatever it is that they're going through. They don't even know,
Oh,
and
yeah,
they
they
project
don't.
it on you, and then you assume
Mhm.
whatever they have, and you're like, now you're
Unaware.
trapped. Unaware.
Unaware.
Yes.
Unaware, right? And so, but we walk in this life and through in this world that way a lot of times,
Yeah.
being unaware of self and how we show up instead of, so I tell people all the time, you are the only person you'll never be able to get rid of.
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
so be kind to you. Get
Exactly.
to know who you are and what triggers you, what prompts you, what motivates you. But also know what it takes to regulate you. And that could be a couple of things. I love to teach people deep breathing
Mm.
because it helps to actually regulate the natural body. Our emotions get out of control in our nervous system because it lacks oxygen. Most of the time, when people are under pressure or are navigating stress or anxiety, we actually stop breathing.
And that's why you hear
If you
people say,
think
take a
about it,
deep
it's that,
breath, right?
and we're breathing.
Yes.
When we're under pressure, we actually innately stop breathing. And so it is when you are aware that this is an uncomfortable state that you're in, that you are intentional about your breathing, about breathing in, inhaling for 4, holding for 4, and exhaling for 4, because that allows your brain to then pause so you can, you know, really activate where am I? Am I
Mm.
safe? What am I doing? It is
Mm-hmm.
your brain's way of protecting you, right? But also grounding yourself,
Mm-hmm.
understanding that your senses get away from you when we are nervous. And when you're grounding yourself, you may be mindful of your environment. And that could be you focusing on the vibrant colors in your environment. That could be you, you know, holding your hand and applying pressure to your hand, right? That could be you taking your hands and going, in between and out of because your fingers, because it helps you to then stimulate and bring awareness back to your body.
The way, basically, like your senses, you start feeling again. And I've
Feeling,
heard,
touching,
yes,
tasting.
I've
Yes.
heard therapists say, take a deep breath or put your hand on your stomach and one over your chest and just breathe in because it is
Yes.
a calming factor and it
It
helps,
is.
yes,
It is.
bring you,
It brings back awareness that you are in your body.
yes,
So when you bring your hand on your chest and on your stomach, those are two major areas that cause alignment of the nervous system. And so you're breathing in for 4, and you're holding for 4, and you're exhaling through your mouth for 4. And the reason why we use numbers is a very interesting fact. When you're counting,
mm,
the brain is on one side of the hemisphere. You cannot do math and have a regulated or dysregulated emotion at the same time.
interesting. So it
It
has to
helps.
break
It
that.
helps to it regulates your mind and your body, but it transfers from one hemisphere to your other one. It helps you to stay regulated, right? So that also grounds, but it also you need to have an anchoring thought.
I love that.
And I like to use this, and I want to get it right. Instead of everything is falling apart, try saying, this is temporary.
Mm,
I am resourced. I am resourceful. I will take this one step at a time.
mm-hmm,
I'm ready. I'm equipped.
mm-hmm.
I'm enough, right? The things that we tell ourselves under pressure matters because, again, we are informing us before anybody else
Right.
does. Our thoughts inform our emotions. Our emotions attack what we think, what we feel, how we behave.
Mm-hmm.
And if you aren't careful about what you say to you sabotage you first.
That's super good, and that's actually a good point to start bringing this, full circle with
Yes.
the transformation because we've talked about the 3 A's, we've talked about the transition plan, and then you've given us some techniques, breathing in, we writing
Mhm.
down things, keep telling yourself this is temporary, taking one step at a time, and that your thoughts regulate your emotions. So if
Yes.
we encapsulate all of these techniques and strategies that you've given us, now we can start the transformation process.
Yes. You can start the transformation process because now you're able to be structured in a grounded, regulated way, right? Your mind is able to make clear, positive decisions and not erratic ones. You're able to structure, which means to create something simple,
Mm,
right? And sometimes that is, are you getting enough rest? Making sure you're consistent with your wake up time, build
mhm,
in movement, set a focus time for, job search or productivity. Make sure that you're scheduling your rest, scheduling your coping strategies, because the mind and body will become distracted by what's happening around you
Mhm.
instead of what you have placed in front of you, your structure, right? And so that means that you need to be able to, journal, take the small wins. If you got up this morning and all you could muster was to make breakfast and sit up and watch a show, that's what your body and your mind needed,
Mhm.
right? And then you make sure you're saying, okay, that was great. Now let me do one thing that's going to move me forward,
Mhm.
right? Take those small wins. Make sure that you're able to, you know, um, validate your feelings,
Mhm.
validate the movements that you've made, the things that you need, want, and desire to do. And sometimes, if you need to take that 20-minute nap, if you need to take that 2-hour nap, you need that. And know and understand that when you wake up, I'm going to be ready to do X, Y, and Z. That's because you've decided that's what you're going to do. You're
Give
validated
yourself
that you're tired.
permission.
Give yourself permission
Yes. Yes.
and know that it's okay.
Yes.
It won't be forever. It is for right now.
Yes. I love that. And I think let's close around that. Getting grounded and giving yourself permission, right? And maybe it's give yourself permission and then get grounded. However it and structure. I think that's good too. So get
Yeah,
grounded, give yourself permission, and provide some structure in your life. And
absolutely.
use those three tools to incorporate everything else that we've talked about,
Yes. And
right?
you'll win every
And
time.
you'll win every time. And
You'll
that could be
win
your
every time.
transformation.
That
That is
is your
that
transformation.
is your
That
transformation.
is your transformation. Your transformation comes when you can really settle into the fact that what was, was. What is. What will be, will be. And in any of those platforms, you're exactly where you're supposed to be, and you're exactly equipped for what you need to be in each of those platforms. Just regulate.
I listen, that's so powerful. And I love how we're ending that because what I want our listeners to know also is how to get in contact with you. You've given some very valuable tools and your experience in having clients and seeing helping people through these um transitions in their lives. You're well
Yes.
equipped, well experienced in helping people through that. And so let's talk about, I know really quick in closing, you have a huge, is it a seminar coming up this in June?
It is
What are you
a
calling?
retreat.
A retreat.
It is an
Talk about that for a
intentional
second.
retreat.
And I'm going to include all this in the show notes, but tell the audience about your retreat, what you intend, what's the outcome, what's the intake, and then the outcome, and how
The
people can
intake
get
and the
registered.
outcome. So yes, I do have a retreat in June. It is an intentional space for leaders. And when I say resilient leaders, I mean people who are navigating life, whether it is in the workplace, but also at home. We're leaders in very different industries, and some of us are entrepreneurs, and some of
Mhm.
us go to a 9 to 5, and many of us actually have become leaders in our homes due to job loss, right? But we are also restructuring life. So the Heart of Resilient Leadership Retreat is an inclusive 2-day retreat at Turf Valley Resort in Ellicott City, Maryland. And so what we wanted to create was a space where people are coming to bring their, problems, their angst when it comes to engaging with people, to leading a team, to leading a family, to leading an organization. What do you need to become a resilient leader in any part of your life? right? And so establishing that framework and all of the frameworks that are going to be not only in the books, both books became bestsellers on Amazon and Barnes and Noble in April and November, respectively. And so taking it to the next level to really, help people to use the practical skills in real time under my guidance and showing them, that little pivot that makes them go into that action to that transformation and being able to take that into the rest of their, not only their leadership legacy, but also into their lives. What does that mean to transform you from the inside out? And that is what the Heart of Resilient Leadership Retreat is about. I want people to be intentional about how they lead themselves in life, because people don't quit jobs, they quit people. But when you
Yes.
show up as a leader impaired in your leadership skills, because everybody, you could have a degree, you could have the skills, but if you don't have the personality, if you don't have the emotional intelligence, who's following you?
Right.
You build cultures that are dysfunctional, that are chaotic, instead of finding ways to build cultures that also will inspire, will transform, will help you to be able to not only navigate stress, anxiety, and burnout, but to thrive under pressure, right? And so that is extreme. I'm so
Yes.
excited
What are the
because
dates again? June, what is it? June?
June 5th, 6th, and 7th.
Okay.
And June 5th is actually deemed the Heart of Resilient Leadership Day. And so I am in Maryland. I absolutely enjoy working with my leaders in corporations and school systems. And I am open to trainings and workshops within the buildings, within organizations, and all of that can be found on my website, www.yourtherapydoctor.com. Yes, I am Dr. Pauline Belton. I'm a licensed clinical professional counselor, a board certified hypnotherapist, and an emotional intelligence facilitator and international trainer.
Yes, all the things, Dr. Pauline. And so how do they register? Do they go on your website to register or
They
is
can
it
go on the website to register.
okay?
And we have in person, but for those who cannot make it to Maryland in person, we have a 1 day on June 6th is where we are going to do our transformational workshop and content knowledge exchange. And so you can join in actually virtual. You can be in the comfort of your home and get all the content and all the transformational tools needed to become a resilient leader. And we're going to do that as a hybrid model. So I will have a handful of, resilient leaders that are in the building with me. And then we're also simultaneously going to have a virtual platform where you're going to see me in person. You're going to visually be a part of the room. You're just going to be probably from wherever you are comfortable in learning this transformational content.
And the results will still be the same. They'll still have
Will still
takeaways.
be
You'll
the
still be
same.
transformed.
Look,
You can
I'm a
take
whole character by myself, honey.
and you can take those learnings and apply it to your environment. So
Yes,
it allows people to
yes,
still come in virtually, still get
absolutely.
all the tool sets, and then
Absolutely.
they'll be
Yes.
transformational in their own
Hmm.
worlds. Thank you
Absolutely.
so much, Dr. Pauline. I knew this was going to be awesome, power pack, lots of information, lots of tools. Listen, I'm hopeful for our audience, for whomever this resonates with, and they need these tool sets, that now they feel equipped. They may have been looking and looking and looking, and hopefully they found us and they found the
Oh,
tools they needed.
awesome. Absolutely. And
Now they can go
whoever
forward.
gets the
Yes,
book,
thank you. Yes,
look, email, get the book.
yes,
You can go on Barnes and Noble, or you can go on Amazon to get the book if you do not win it in this segment.
yes. And so if you're interested in winning the book, email me at Vision Creator, and it's creator CreaThers, Vision Creators at gmail.com. And I have one book to give away. Tell me why you think you are deserving of the book and how you're looking for something to change your life. And the first person's email that I get that resonates with me, and I'll also share with you, and you can tell me, because then you can also communicate with them as well. We'll
Absolutely.
send
I would
them the
love to.
book. We'll send them the book. Awesome. Thanks again, everyone. I hope everyone got something from this segment. You'll walk away more empowered, more strong, more of a leader, all the things that you need in your life.
Look, this is our charge. This is our ministry. This is what we
Yes,
do.
exactly.
I tell people
Exactly.
all the time, I'm ordained for this. I
Exactly.
am in my element when we're talking about emotional intelligence and mental health. And
Yes.
so thank you for having me.
Yes, absolutely. And everyone have a great day, and we will talk again soon.